week 4 of going back to basics, like Centers for Spiritual Living around the world do. And in the introduction, part 4 of the Science of Mind is called How to Use It. So there's this thing, talks about it as the thing itself, call it whatever you will, it's everywhere, everyone, everything, all the time. Then this thing works in a certain way, and that means that in order for it to express, in order for it to fulfill itself, in order for us to be able to create our life experience, there has to be sort of a process, a creative process of how this incredible ethereal beingness shows up as form. So that's about the law. And then what is it that this thing does? It expresses. In the universal, it is constantly moving and grooving its way through some kind of outlet so that it can experience itself in form. And on the individual level, as we are creating our life experience, we also have the opportunity to remember that we are so much more than this. So much more than every thought, belief, feeling, experience, choice, habit, action step that has gotten us to this moment right here, right now. That there is something within each, every one of us. There is something that is all around us, informing us all the time, that there is so much more. And so how do we use it? How do we make use of this incredible, amazing awesomeness that each and every one of us is? Well, as a reminder, or for those who don't know, New Thought was founded on mental healing. And so the whole premise was that you could use your mind in a specific way to heal. And really, when Ernest Holmes writes about this healing in the Science of Mind, he talks about how it's not so much healing as it is revealing who and what we already are. So it's really us remembering. So how do we intentionally, consciously remember who we are, and how do we intentionally, consciously create our most amazing life? Well, this is where my absolute #1 favorite tool of all time to transform your life comes in, affirmative prayer. Or as in religious science, we call it spiritual mind treatment. Or as in what Emma Smiley called it, atomic prayer. Whatever you call it, it is a form of prayer where we are not begging or beseeching or asking some other entity outside of us for something. We are praying as. We are affirming that this is who and what we are. This is what I know. No matter what is going on around me, no matter what circumstances are like, no matter even what thoughts might be going on in my head, I know beyond all of that there is this incredible, amazing, powerful, eternal, boundless, limitless wisdom and knowingness and presence and profundity that is forever ready to unleash itself in, through, and as me, in, through, and as everyone and everything. So, how do we use it? If we are to actually maximize our true potential, then we need to be aware that this is what's happening, and then we need to use it consciously, okay? Because this law that is in effect, we can simply call it the law of cause and effect. What you think about, you bring about. What you focus on expands. What you lament cements. That's still a new one for me, and I really like it. But consciously, Ernest Holmes says a trained mind is far more powerful than an untrained mind, or trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought. So once we become aware of who and what we are and how powerful we are, then we get to consciously choose, consciously decide, okay, how am I going to steer and navigate through my life? Am I going to go based on the assumptions that I have made up until now? The ideas that have been truths for me until now, the truths that people all around me are saying, well, that's just the way it is. That's the way it's always been, so that's the way it's going to be. It's another one of those days. Oh, isn't that always the way? Or are we going to go, okay, yeah, even so, there is that in me that knows. Even if I don't know how to change or shift or pivot, there is that in me that knows. And even if I feel like I don't have a choice, there is that in me that knows, and I trust and know that this is guiding me at this moment. But sometimes that's not enough, right? You got to be more direct. And so there is this form of prayer, affirmative prayer, that we are taught in religious science, which is called spiritual mind treatment. And like I said, it is praying as. So we are affirming what we already know, what we already trust. And in 5-step spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer, or even atomic prayer, the way that Emma would call it, the first step is realization. God is all there is. Love is all there is. Consciousness is everything. However you want to state it, there's one thing, that's what's going on. Number 2, identification. I am God. I am love. I am the love of my life. Thank you, Don Miguel Ruiz, via the book study with Glenn Sheridan. Declaration. This is the intention for the prayer, the intention for the treatment. And there are 2 schools of thought here. There's consciousness is everything, so it's all about the consciousness. And then there's like, what is it that the prayer is for? Is it for health? Is it for abundance? Is it for finding a new job? Okay? But ultimately, if the consciousness is there, this is going to show up because the consciousness is what's demonstrating as this, as the health, as the abundance, as the job. So the declaration is, here's what I know. Here's what I declare. Step 4 is gratitude. I am thankful for. Whatever it is that you are treating for, that you are praying for, that you are knowing, you are grateful for it because it already exists in the universal mind of God, in the quantum field of infinite potentiality. It's already there. It is fully baked, fully present. All we need to do is open ourselves up to it. So this is where the trust and the faith comes in. And then the final step is release. And this is when we say, and so it is, at the end of a prayer. We know it's done. We let it go. We're not sitting there saying, but it's got to look like this, it's got to feel like this, it's got to be this big, it's got to be this color. Because once you start putting all of these things in, all these boxes that need to be ticked, then you're starting to tell God or universe how to package it. And guess what? If there are gazillions of possibilities, doesn't it stand to reason that there maybe are a gazillion other ways that this thing that you are intending, this thing that you are praying for/as, can show up in your life experience? So why limit yourself to what you know? Why not open yourself up to, it sounds a little dualistic, but universe has my back. God's got it covered. It's already done. So it is. Now, in the science of mind, Ernest Holmes says that the key ingredient for prayer is feeling. You can say all the words, you can have all the steps, you can put everything in the right order, but if you say it like this, then chances are it's not going to come true. But if you do this, and you really know, and you trust, and you're adamant and unwavering and steadfast in your faith, knowing who and what you are, that it is already done, feeling, right? And Thomas Troward would say that it's actually faith, but really those go hand in hand, okay? Now, in Magnificent Assumption, which was Emma Smiley's final book, she writes, by turning within and reiterating that we are a power that is far greater than any power in the world, we are using the power of atomic prayer wisely and well. So this is her version of using it consciously and intentionally or specifically. Or as Ernest Holmes would say, trained thought. Okay? It's not just sort of willy-nilly and, I hope it happens and maybe kind of wish, whatever. It's like, this is happening right here, right now. This is the way it is, wisely and well. She also writes, the one who prays wisely is the one who knows that he has within him a limitless power. He's the one who dares to become conscious of this power and to use it. So it's not enough to just know that it exists, right? You actually have to take steps. You have to take action. You have to actively participate in your life experience. No one else is going to live your life for you. No one else is going to hand you stuff on a silver platter unless you have a belief in your subconscious that is so strong that people are going to hand you things on a silver platter. It just happens all the time. Great! But I'm thinking that for most people, that's not the case. And so we need to consciously, actively, intentionally treat. And we need to do it until we demonstrate. So we can let it go and trust and know, but if stuff isn't showing up, then you know what? Go back to the drawing board. Do another affirmative prayer. Anchor yourself in the knowing that this already is. It's what's happening. I know it is. And treat until you demonstrate. And we like to say, treat and move your feet. Okay? So take action. Now, when I was writing out the 5 steps this morning, when I got to gratitude, which is just drilled into our minds, through foundational studies, practitioner studies, ministerial, then I actually wrote down appreciation. Just spontaneously, I wrote that down. And part of it comes from, I don't know when this was, but sometime in the last year, my husband Glenn was talking about Abraham Hicks and talking about this difference, this distinction between appreciation and gratitude. And at first I'm like, but then I started, just like listened, and I'm like, okay. And I thought, ooh, I actually like this. And so what Abraham Hicks says is gratitude and appreciation are 2 different vibrations. Gratitude is often associated with a difficulty that has been overcome, but there is still some of that struggle vibration present. In gratitude, there is a keen awareness of where one has come from, which serves as a sort of point of resistance. Okay? Interesting. Appreciation, on the other hand, is seeing whatever one is looking at through the eyes of Source, and there is no resistance in it. And then appreciation as a word, it's just like it appreciates, right? It builds, it grows, it expands. And I know that there are so many studies that have been done on gratitude, but I'm starting to wonder if gratitude really has been appreciation. Because appreciation is the feeling. Gratitude is kind of the thing, right? We feel appreciation when we are grateful. So I did some looking up on the internet today, and I went to psychologytoday.com, and I looked through a whole bunch of articles, and there was a lot of stuff on there about appreciation versus gratitude. So in one it says, appreciation is opening your heart to feel the improvement in your experience that the presence of someone or something brings. As a mental state, new thought founded on mental healing, as a mental state, it doesn't require transactions or even interactions. This to me was so cool because our form of prayer where we affirm, it's not a transaction. It's not give me this and then I'll be thankful. It's I know this is already happening. I know this is who I am. I'm affirming what I already know. I'm affirming the truth of my being, the truth of the situation, the truth of whomever it is that I am praying for. So there's nothing that has to happen or take place. It's already who and what we are. There was another article that said, appreciation is more behavioral and attitudinal and more likely to motivate positive behavior change. So I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to switch step 4 to appreciation because it's all about the feeling. It is all about the vibration. Because again, if you are praying monotone and not putting energy into it and just kind of thinking, yeah, if I say the words, then my prayer is going to be recognized and I'm going to demonstrate and manifest whatever I want. There's no feeling in there to amplify and move that energy to put the power in the prayer that already exists. So the key here for me was because our form of prayer is not transactional, because we're not asking someone to do something for us, because we're not looking for something outside of us, we are simply affirming what we already know to be true. Appreciation amplifies the power of prayer. It is the knowing of the prayer. And so the title of my talk today is Appreciating the Power of Affirmative Prayer. And appreciating not as in being thankful for, but appreciating the power, amplifying the power, allowing, like giving opportunity for that power to build and rev up and do its thing so that we can demonstrate who and what we truly are through the manifestations that we want to see and experience in our lives. Okay, so it's not about the job, it's not about the house, it's not about the money. You may think it is, and it may feel like it is in the moment. It is about the opportunity for spirit, source, God, creativity, beauty, intelligence, infinite potentiality to express in, through, and as us and show up as those things in our life. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So back to Ernest Holmes. One of the great difficulties in the new order of thought is that we are likely to indulge in too much theory and too little practice. Such a great quote, right? You can read all the books, you can take all the courses, you can do all the seminars, work with the coach, attend Celebrate Sunday, but if you don't practice, then do you think you're going to get results? If you're playing piano and you don't practice, do you think you're going to get better? Within the realm of possibility, but chances are, right? If you are an athlete, if you work at a job, like whatever, anything, practice, practice, practice. And so he writes, the only way to practice treatment is to practice treatment, right? So how to use it? You got to do it. You got to actually do it. So appreciation amplifies the power of affirmative prayer. The more conscious, heartfelt, and intentional that feeling of appreciation, the more powerful and activational the prayer, the more spontaneously we demonstrate the truth of who and what we are. So my questions to you are you practicing prayer as an affirmation of truth or more like a transaction? Are you praying consciously, wisely, and well? And either way, how can you more intentionally appreciate the power of your prayer? Thank you, and so it is.